Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Finally.
The Hitting the Turnbuckle Podcast.
Who's come back? Give me a hell yeah.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Hitting the Turnbuckle Podcast, the first one of the week. Happy Wrestlemania week to everyone. I'm your host, Andy Burrows. I'm joined by my illustrious co-host, good friend and tag team partner, as always, Mr. Adam Cousins. Adam, happy Wrestlemania week, sir. How are you?
Happy Wrestlemania week to you. I am all good, and it's the start of yet another busy week for us and in general.
It is a bit. Everyone podcasting about wrestling, watching wrestling. It's going to be an extremely busy week. We are here for our Raw recap show. It's the final Raw before WrestleMania. If I had to describe this Raw, the one before WrestleMania, the big saying back in the day was Raw is war. This was Raw is snore. My God, mate. It was the WrestleMania. People, like, you could tweet us at HTT Buckle if you disagree. I thought it was terrible. I'm not even going to beat around the bush. I thought this Raw, but considering it was the last one before WrestleMania, I don't know if they're going to throw everything into SmackDown on Friday, but again, probably not, because they've got the Hall of Fame coming up straight after it, which we'll get into a little bit, because it's only got 4 people going into it. Yeah, I didn't think it was good, mate. I don't know what your initial thoughts before we break down some matches and some segments. I thought there wasn't many highlights from this Monday Night Raw for me. It opened up with Miz TV and Damage Control and Trish, Lita and Becky, which I was flabbergasted at. And if you go back a couple of years, Becky Lynch was probably cutting some of the best promos in the wrestling business. This one, she sounded like she was still drinking from St. Patrick's Day. I mean, what did you think of Raw? What did you think of the opening? Because I would, maybe I'm setting the bar too high. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being me, and I'm just expecting bigger things before Mania, or I don't know. What did you reckon, mate?
Well, I used a different S word to describe Raw. It wasn't snore. It was raw as shit, because that's exactly what it was. Biggest Raw of the year, technically. Before the biggest pay-per-view of the year. And it looks like they made absolutely no effort to push anything. There was a couple of high points on the show. On a 3-hour show, there must have been about 3+ points that I can think of. The opening segment, that promo was awful from Becky. The only thing about it, I would say,
she tried so hard not to swear as well. I thought every other swear was going to be. You could see her really like, oh no, I'm on live TV.
Yeah, she did that. The only sort of bit that I got from that was Trish's facial expressions, which kind of go into what we think is going to be happening, maybe at WrestleMania, maybe the night after, which will be she's turning on Becky. Miz put her through a line in there about you're just basically Becky's backups. That's where Trish's face. So she didn't answer the question. She let Lita answer it. So that was really the only bit. Other than that, waste of time.
Then Becky got into a match with Io Sky. Becky wins. Not much happened in the match, not gonna lie, mate. I've literally just finished watching Raw not long ago, and I was just like, oh my God, this is the start. But I had high hopes. I thought, well, it can only get better. You know what I mean? It was a terrible opening to the Raw before WrestleMania. Then they gave me Seth versus Mustafa Ali after a little backstage segment promo with Seth and Mustafa Ali, and they went and had a match, and it was it was quite a quickish match. Most of the match was really the crowd singing Seth Rollins' theme tune. I never thought I'd get sick of that. I'm sick of it. I'm like, oh my God, here they go again.
It's only going to get worse on Sunday, right?
It is. Don't get me wrong. It all looked good. It all looked good in the grand scheme of things on Sunday when you've got 74,000 people doing it. But the match was all right, and Seth kind of cut a goodish promo after. If I can't beat Logan Paul, he's not the joke I am. Yada yada yada. I get it. Again, did it ignite anything within me for the match? No, I've said this last week. I've said it a couple of times. I think the match will be good. You know what I mean? As much as we dish it out to Logan Paul, he can wrestle. You know what I mean? And for what he's done in such a short space of time, out of all the celebrities that they've had on over the years, Bad Bunny wasn't bad, actually. Could have a decent match, but Logan's in a different level to what did you make of Seth? What do you make of the push that they're giving it? Is this just a wrestle? Is this it done? Like Seth's like, look, this is it. It's going to come full circle. It's going to end at Mania. Or, please, for the love of God, don't tell me this is carrying on to... I'm not allowed to say Wrestlemania Backlash, are we? Backlash. What did you make of Seth and Mustafa Ali? I mean, Mustafa Ali a couple of years ago was meant to be the next big thing. Now he's just doing jobs for other superstars.
Yeah, I mean, I think from what I read, he's going to get a bigger push after Mania. So I don't know if that's true, but we'll see. Was it even a match? I don't know. I mean, I think
4 minutes?
Literally sipped a coffee and it was over. I suppose you got to give Seth some power going into it because he's been knocked out twice by a fake punch from Logan Paul on 2 separate occasions. I don't think it's going to go any further than Mania. I think Seth comes out of that, then probably a bit like Sami Zayn. He done the joke match and then he got put into a bigger, the world title.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. Actually, you look at Sami this time last year, he was in fighting the guys from Jackass. Now he's hopefully he's in the main event on Saturday night fighting for the tag team title. So yeah, no, you make a good point. But I don't know, mate. I thought it was back in, you remember the old days of WWF superstars when they had them squash matches in Hogan or Warrior would fight some absolute no one that they've just dragged off out of the gym, and kind of reminded me of the old WWF superstars days where it's just squash match after squash match. Raw felt like that to me, to be honest. I don't know. Seth's such a great talent. I hope, like you said a few weeks ago, I hope he's the program going forward for the with Cody or with Roman or whoever. I just want to see him in something meaningful than gimmicky WrestleMania. You've got to fight. I say fight a celebrity. Logan's kind of dipping in and out of WWE quite a lot now. So again, it'll be interesting to see what they do with him or where he goes after this. What would you do with Logan Paul moving forward? Because I think he'll still be involved. Does his brother get involved? Is there some sort of? I've heard that rumor that by SummerSlam. This is only internet rumors. I've heard that it could be that Sammy and KO keep the tag team titles till SummerSlam, and you probably know where I'm going with this. Yeah. And then the Paul brothers team up and take them off them at SummerSlam.
If that happens, I'll switch off. Like Logan Paul on his own could win a title, and I wouldn't be bothered because he's got it. And I don't like that. I don't like any of them. They drink shit. Or KSI's drink on as well is shit. They've made their money. Fair play to them. They've done all this stuff, and you have to credit them for that. But Logan Paul, no problem. Whatever he does. I heard that they're going to have the Cena match at SummerSlam.
Okay.
Or, now, I haven't heard this, but creative mind thinking here. Cena wins the US title. SummerSlam, WrestleMania. Next night on Raw, does his open challenge. Logan goes and beats him. Sets up a match for SummerSlam. Potentially, look, I'm just I've heard an open challenge, and I've heard different names being thrown around. Logan wasn't one of them. But I had heard that Cena.
Good way to debut someone on Raw the night after WrestleMania.
Yeah, and you think who they've been? You think who's been linked
some big names? Yeah.
So potentially that. I've got no interest in seeing Jake Paul win it. Stick to fighting real boxers and losing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, stick to trying to pay off people to make you look good in a boxing ring instead of WWE. Brock Lesnar and Omos had a weigh-in, but they didn't have a weigh-in. Brock tried to attack Omos. It didn't go well. Brock he stumbled halfway through running off the ropes, which made me laugh. He's only been wrestling for God knows how many years. Dude, I've got no interest in this. It's going to be Brock's going to win. He's going to F5 him. End of done. Move on. It's going to be a 5-minute match at WrestleMania if it makes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I know that The Undertaker kind of said in an interview, Mark Calloway said in an interview last week that he's quite impressed with what Omos is doing and how they're building him up and how he could be a special feature, and he don't want to see him wrestle every week. I don't want to see him wrestle ever. I think it's terrible. Remember the Giant Gonzalez against the Undertaker? Do you remember that? Yeah, WrestleMania 9, the one where they all dressed in
WrestleMania 9, dressed
9,
in silvers.
the
Yeah,
year that that was the same year that JR made his debut and Hogan won the belt after Brett lost the belt against
exactly
Bazuna,
that.
wasn't it? Yeah, that was a quite good WrestleMania actually. But yeah, I just get that kind of vibe of Omos, and I don't know, again, Brock Lesnar, it's like, well, is he, apparently he's off after this. He's done with WWE for, maybe this is it. Maybe he's gone, look, I'll do this, then I'm going to be gone, and he could reappear maybe next year at WrestleMania. We might not see him for a year. We could see him at SummerSlam, they always draw.
But been advertised for it.
Yeah, I think so. So I think Brock will fill it in and out again as he does. But they like Omos weighed in at 400 pounds, and Brock Lesnar come down the ring, and next week, like you say, a sip of coffee, and you're like, oh, that's done. Brock's kind of outside, and Omos has got the
like the match at Mania, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, that segment probably lasted the same time as. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I don't think WWE know what to do with Brock anymore. They're kind of like, look, we've given you the titles for X amount of years. We've pushed you against Roman. You've done you've killed the streak. You've had a good thing against Roman. You've had a great spot at SummerSlam where you lifted the ring up with a forklift truck. Only a wrestling podcast could you ever say that sentence, lifted the ring up with a forklift truck. You know what I mean? What do you think they do with him post-Mania? Do you think he goes away? There's big rumors that he's going back to the UFC, that he wants to try his hand at MMA again. I mean, I don't know. Do you think we see him the Raw after Mania?
No. I don't think so. Brock will go where the money is. I think I said that before. He will go wherever is going to pay him the most money. Don't blame him. Like, he's done wrestling. He done it years and years ago when he come out. He's done his time. What do you do with Brock now? That's the thing. Like, he's done everything. You only really go on to see him once or twice a year, if that. Maybe he'll have a showcase match again next year against, I don't know, a part-timer, an Austin or someone like that. I don't know. What can you do with him? He's going to come out here, suplex Omos, he'll F5 him.
I think Brock Lesnar will go in the Hall of Fame next year.
Either that or Omos squashes him.
Oh, what does that do for any?
Gives Omos the bigger thing going forward.
Does it though?
But I don't know. I'm just
This is the guy that beat the Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania, and then 4 years later, you're going to have him lose to what am I doing? 40? Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm old. 9 years later, you're going to have him lose to Omos. And then what do you do with Omos? Would you push him? Where's he going to? What? I swear to God, if he gets involved in the title mix, that's it. I'll be watching AEW. That's it.
I agree with Undertaker that he should be a special feature. So he shouldn't necessarily. He's not the type of guy that he doesn't deserve a title anyway. But there's no point in putting a title on him because, if you remember back in the old days, like the only person that ever beat a giant was Hogan. Literally, or Warrior. Or Hogan, and
Undertaker beat, like you say, Undertaker beat the Giant Gonzalez. You had Hogan originally. I'm going back now. You had Hogan beating King Kong Bundy. You had Hogan beating Andre at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You had the Ultimate Warrior. Who's the big guys that he
would be more to do with the fact they would slam him.
Yeah, I suppose.
Andre wouldn't work with him, or he'd beat the shit out of him because he didn't like the Warrior was so stiff.
But Andre was a much better worker than Omos is.
Definitely.
Go and you think back to that match against Hogan. He was really badly injured that day, and if you watch that match, it's actually okay. I know Hogan looked after him a lot. Hogan gets a lot of shit for this in-ring work, but he really looked after Andre the Giant during that match.
I've seen Hogan in Japan pull out inzaguris and all sorts of shit, and he's like Cena. Cena can wrestle. He always could, but it was how the WWE wanted him to perform. If you go back to the OVW days, John Cena could go very comfortably.
Prototype.
Yeah, he could go very comfortably in the ring. So it was always about what the WWE wanted to perceive. They wanted to perceive him as a Superman, like the modern day Hogan. What Hogan used to do, get beat the crap out of for 20 minutes, Hulk up, hit 5 moves, and game over.
Yeah, you're right, mate. You're right. But I don't know, mate. Omos, Brock, I don't know if it's going to be night 1, night 2. Don't matter. They could probably
night 1.
You could probably do it night 1 and night 2. Just blink, you might miss it. No one will know.
I kind of hope that, that match is just done. The only thing I would say is I'm intrigued to see who wins because I don't think it's really like, I can't pick one because either one could easily, they could easily make it a squash either way.
While we're talking about Brock, tell our listeners, you sent me the best text message today about Bray Wyatt and what and what the plan was. Now, I read this. I was sitting next to my friend at work, and I was cracking up. He don't get wrestling. I was like, he's like, "What are you laughing at?" And I explained to him, and that sounds very wrestling. Just tell everyone what the supposed alleged plan was for Brock and Bray at WrestleMania.
And you will understand why Brock didn't want to do it when I go into it. So this story on the internet that I read, and again, this is internet stuff. So grain of salt, it's not me saying it. So basically, Bray Wyatt wanted Brock Lesnar to pretty much kill him at WrestleMania. That was the word, kill him. So that Uncle Howdy could bring him back to life, creating a new monster for Bray, but Brock refused. Now, I've also heard, there's a slight aside to that they are thinking about bringing back The Fiend.
Are they?
Yeah, which for me, I don't, that was the one carnation of Bray that I like the look of, but how in the hell can you book it? If he's impervious to pain, you throw him off a roof and he just pops back up. How can you book it?
The thing with Bray is as well, I don't know, he splits opinion. I don't think he's very good in the ring.
I want to listen. I'm looking forward to when we speak to Rowan on Monday, because I really want to know what working with Bray is like. I mean, I'm sure he's not going to shit on him or anything like that.
No, he's his mate, and you know what I mean. But I'm just being honest. I don't think I've ever seen. I've never watched one of his matches and gone, "Wow, that was incredible."
It's never really been with Bray. It's been about a match, is it? It's always been.
Yeah, but when you cut it all back, though, you could have some of like the best promos, you can have some of the best facials. Yeah. When it comes to especially things like WrestleMania, I reckon it's probably the only event of the year. Don't get me wrong, we all like watching great matches, and we've seen some really good ones over the years at Mania. But a lot of it is about promos and who's returning. But at Mania, when you think Mania, you think Undertaker, Shawn, you think Austin versus Brett. You know what I mean? You think some great Hogan, matches. You think Hogan, Rock. You think Austin, Rock. And what you remember that, you're not remembering all the promos and all the great promos leading up to it on the Raws and the SmackDowns in the year. You remember the match. When Bray Wyatt's all said and done, me and you could be sitting here in 5 to 10 years going, do you remember when he done that Firefly Funhouse on SmackDown and he pretended he was a puppet? Or do you remember when they botched the mat when he fell off and Uncle Howie missed him completely? And when he left WWE for 6 months because he just couldn't be arsed, or there's so you're not going to sit here and like you say, it'd be interesting to ask Bron on Monday what it was to like. I've heard his creative mind is incredible.
Yeah, I think that.
But you can have the best creative mind in the world if you don't get the fans hooked on some sort of match. Austin, Rock, Triple H, Mankind, Taker, great creative minds. I could list you 20 of their matches where I've gone, wow.
Yeah,
incredible. You've only got to go and watch Mick Foley do a Boiler Room Brawl match, and people think Boiler Room Brawl match ain't gonna be any good. Incredible. Go and watch the early In Your Houses when he had the Boiler Room Brawls with the Undertaker, In Your House 5, In Your House 6, something like that.
Yeah,
incredible. Go and watch a Stone Cold versus Rock match. I saw them fight in Birmingham on a house show, and I thought it was incredible.
Best match I've ever seen. The best match I've ever seen. And bearing in mind, I know I've been WrestleManias. I've seen Taker, Shawn, and all of that. The best match that I've ever witnessed sitting in a seat in the WWE was Kurt Angle and the Undertaker at the XL Arena. I can't remember if it was do you remember they had the match at No Way Out? And it was a great match. I can't remember if it was pre or post that, but they had a match at the XL. It went, I want to say, about 45 minutes. And it was, I literally was fixated because, again, a lot like a fan, I don't necessarily, you won't always see me cheering or jumping up and down. I'm always watching and learning. And that was just on another level compared to what even the matches I've seen at WrestleMania. That was the best match. But with Bray Wyatt, it's all good having it here, but it also needs to resonate on TV. It needs to come across. And at the moment, it's just weird.
It's nothing. But he's changed the gimmick since the big comeback.
Yeah, which I really thought was going to do something.
I thought, was it SummerSlam with the door and everything? And was it SummerSlam? Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
I thought it was closer to the back end of the year.
Survivor Series.
It's somewhere.
Anyway, the door and the light, and he come out. I'm thinking, here we go. This is gonna be a good run.
Even the early goings was decent when he was
Yeah.
conflicted, and he still had Uncle Howdy. He still had, was good because it was it the Wyatt Six coming together that they've always been discussing and all of that. And then
but there could be some Uncle Howie reveal at Mania, and now it's just lost. And everyone will just be like, "Oh, there's Bo Dallas, great." You know, oh, brilliant. There's Bray Wyatt doing a shit promo, or he's cost. Who's to say he doesn't interfere in the John Cena Austin Theory match and injects himself into the US title?
Who's to say that he's not Fiend on Monday night?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, mate, but I don't know what they're doing with him, but I'm asked Brock. Don't really care. No. The good thing I did like, obviously it's different TV networks. When it cut back from our advert break over here, Finn Balor cut a good promo. Obviously, he's going to be Demon Finn.
Good.
There's talk of it being the original, not as bad as constructed as it was when Mick Foley, fell through it when he wasn't meant to. The original Hell in a Cell.
It is the original.
It is
not the Mick Foley one.
Not the Mick Foley,
The reconstructed silver one, is it? Or grey? I don't know.
Silvery grey. But
that one. It's already hanging at the SoFi Stadium. It's the old cell.
Do you see how you said this to me before? Edge will take bumps. He'll got this. This is going to be his last big match. Do you envision either one of these two being on top of that cell? Because when you think Hell in a Cell now, I think Shane McMahon set the bar so high. When you think Hell in a Cell, you think, oh my God, who's coming off the top of that? And when I look at Finn and Edge, I think not, and I hope neither of them are coming off the top of it, especially Edge with all his neck problems. So I don't think he's going to take a bump. How do they incorporate the quote unquote drama of Hell in a Cell, but no one goes off the top? And it sounds shit to say that, but if you look at the last few years, Shane McMahon has done it. Everyone that's been in the Hell in a Cell recently, some nut has jumped off the top.
Yeah.
You think Shane Undertaker, WrestleMania. And I watch that back all the time. If it crops up on YouTube or TikTok or wherever it is, I see it. I watch it because I still can't believe it. I think, you think, Jesus, onto that table, mate. Fair play to Shane McMahon. He took some bumps. But as for Edge and Finn, what do you think is the big? How does it get the crowd going? So I think the match will be incredible, but it's Hell in a Cell for a reason. How does the cell come into it without it just being a great match?
So again, this is from what Edge has said on an interview recently. I think he even said it in an interview today or yesterday that he's got some quote unquote sick ideas, and it's whether or not they allow it.
Okay.
So do we see blood again? Do we see it? I think Edge would kill himself if he took. I mean, we don't know how strong he is.
Oh, he's not coming off the top of that.
If it's anyone, it could be Finn. I mean, I have a really bad. Could you imagine a coup de grace off the top of the cell for a table? I don't know. I don't know.
Actually, he spears him on top of the cell
and falls through.
Yeah, that thing is going to be reinforced to shit, mate.
Yeah, I don't know if again.
I'm just trying to figure out how the cell comes into it because I think the match will be great. But what is like Triple H said a few months ago? What's the purpose of the cell is that it has to give that now dramatic effect, and the cell is incorporated into the match. With these two, this is probably the first time I've looked at Hell in a Cell match and gone, "Oh, how you?" Don't get me wrong, someone will be throwing into it and yada yada yada. But what's the big WrestleMania moment? Sorry to say that. I mean, everyone bloody says that. Yeah. But what is the big WrestleMania moment with these two? We've heard that it's going to be Brugge Edge. You sent me something today that Christian has been given permission by Tony Khan to appear. Whether that's true or not, I'm not so sure.
We have to take everything on. Everything. I mean, everything, even just general stuff. It's a rumor. Yeah. Obviously, this time of year, there's a lot more shit that comes out. We knew that they were talking about trying to get Billy Gunn over to the reunion, but WWE was a little bit silly. They wouldn't mention the fact that he was at All Elite Wrestling, and it didn't happen because of that reason. So, if they're going to do a Brood entrance, even if Christian just pops up on the stage with Gangrel and Edge and then goes, they don't even need to mention Christian because it would be gone by the time Edge hits the ring. So it doesn't really,
unless the Judgment Day get involved and they take the bump.
But
you've got Ray. It'll have to be post. It depends when they put his Ray on first night, night one, night two. It depends when it is. If Ray's already wrestled and he's kicked the shit out of Dominic, or vice versa, and obviously you got
don't know. Dominic just doesn't feel big enough. Like he's in,
yeah. I'm just. I reckon.
Like,
I reckon there could be like a twist here. They're going to do something that would be like, I didn't see that coming. It might be one of them moments. I hope so, mate. Yeah, but I'm excited for that match. I am excited for that match
as well. I think it was
promo was very good.
Yeah,
that was probably one of the highlights. It's quite bad when a 3-hour show Raw, like you said at the start. That was one of the only 2 or 3.
If you think about it, the 3-hour show, there was 2 good promos and pretty much 1 good match.
Yeah. The Street Profits, Braun Strowman and Ricochet took on, I got to remember now, the Alpha Academy and the Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
Again, the only thing that stood out in this match for me, right, was how bloody good Montez Ford is.
Yeah, he is.
The ending, I thought he was going to hit the ceiling. Yeah. He got so high. That guy, honestly, I hope they really. I like the Street Profits. I think they're a good tag team, and you don't want to keep breaking up too many tag teams because if you think about it, you've got, the women's side of it. You've got the whole Trish and Lita and everyone turning heel and all that. But if you look at the men's tag team division, theoretically, you could have KO and Sammy again, but you've got Raw and SmackDown. You've got a draft coming up. I don't want them to keep splitting up tag teams just for the sake of it, but Montez could. I can see him in a USC title kind of. I don't think it'll be the open challenge on Raw. That's what is happening because that's not ready yet. But I think, if you think, I don't know, SummerSlam or Survivor Series this time next year, I think we could be interested in. I'll make a note in my little notepad here. Just put Montez Ford, see where he is in 2024. This time when me and you were talking about WrestleMania 2024. Let's see where Montez Ford is in the situation because I don't know what you think, mate. I really, really like him.
Montez Ford's money. He is. This is not a disrespect from Angelo Dawkins because he's still good, but you can tell the Sean to the Jannetty in this big time.
Great analogy, mate. Yeah,
I think what I would like to see, and again, I said this probably a couple of weeks ago, was the reformation of the Hurt Business. So you can technically have Montez and Angelo as the Street Profits, but they can be singles. And they can just team up when they need to. Shelton, Cedric, and Bianca, MVP. Doesn't need Lashley on this because you can push Montez Ford as the Lashley. I know he's not the same in stature or build, but you could have Montez Ford as the technically leader, bar an MVP, of that group.
Yeah, no, interesting. No, yeah, I really like Montez, mate. I hope they do something with him. I think he's certainly probably the highlight of the match. I thought the match was shit, really. Street Pro,
it was just to give him TV time ahead of their show.
Yeah, they had a little backstage segment, didn't they, with about the Andre the Giant and Bobby Lashley just turned. I felt so sorry. I mean, again, Bray Wyatt, he was meant to fight him at WrestleMania, and he's now hopefully he wins the Andre the Giant battle, but they put it on SmackDown, and it's all a bit like, I don't know. I just think that, again, it's just bad luck for Bobby Lashley. I was hoping they could have segued into something else, but this close to Mania is going to be so hard. And I hope they've got plans for him after, because I quite like Bobby Lashley. I know he's a bit Vince McMahon, a big guy, he's old school Vince booking, but I don't mind Bobby Lashley. It depends how I prefer him as a heel than a babyface. You know what I mean? I think I think he's much better. What do we have next? Oh, bloody hell. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green won their way into the Fatal 4-Way. Yep, nothing else to say about that.
Once again, just proves how weak that division is.
Yeah, just briefly, I know we speak about it every week. Just again, do you know what Raw proved to me? How shit the women's division is still.
Yeah, it's got a long way to go.
Proved what we all said, what me and you said last week. We've got Melina on with us tomorrow. It'll be really interesting to see if she's watching the current product and what she thinks of the women's. Not so much the talent, but the way they're booking them and the stories.
The way they're booking them, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is more the way they're booking them because, bloody hell, Becky, Charlotte, Trish, Lita, all these guys. Bailey, they're incredible. You look at some of the NXT matches they had.
Look at Asuka, Io Sky ain't no slouches.
No, Io Sky in NXT, I think they mentioned it on Raw, didn't they?
Asuka was 940 odd days undefeated.
Yeah, and I think that is the problem. If you look, we mentioned this before we even podcast, like we spoke about this for a couple of years. NXT needs to be great, and then you used to get to the main roster, and you were like,
yeah,
they just fucked it up. And I think with so many of these, Io Sky, I think they've just fucked it up. Bianca Belair.
It's refresh time for her.
She needs a reset. As soon as WrestleMania is done, She'll, I don't know if she'll drop the belt. I don't know. Oscar wins the title. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If that, like I said to you last week, if that match is on at 3:30, 3:45 in the morning, I'm gone, mate. I ain't making it. Damian Priest versus Ray, quite inevitable.
Yeah.
Dom threw some veteran punches. I thought his work is good, mate. He really sold that. I'm looking forward to that match. Do you think it ends? This is the question. Do you think that ends with Dom and Ray rekindling? As in, do you think? I think the Judgment Day somehow get involved and they proper beat the living shit out of Ray, and it's very much in Dom's head. Eventually twigs, but that's my dad. Yada yada. I don't know. Or do they keep? And I hope, in a way, I hope that doesn't happen. But knowing WWE and how they think, I'm hoping that they keep heel Dom, because if they do let him rekindle with Ray, I'm kind of like, well, where do you go now? Because heel Dom is very good, and I've been impressed with him over the last 4 or 5 months. When he first come, like we said last week, when he first come in, he was learning. He's learned quick. You can tell wrestling's in his blood. Yeah. Put it that way. Eddie Guerrero, you like?
Oh, it was on Monday as well. It was yesterday. Sorry, on how he looked yesterday. I kind of want them to maybe hold off any father-son, because we just had it with Kevin and Sammy, and I think, you know, it's not father-son, but you know, we've just had that. You've kind of, even if you switch gears and look at AEW, you're kind of seeing it with the Elite and Page, and we'll talk about that another day. But what I think may happen, and do you remember when Shawn Michaels took on Jericho at Wrestlemania, and they embraced at the end, everyone thought them were friends, and then Jericho kicked him in the nuts? I think that could be going the same way with Ray and Dominic.
Hogan and Shawn, when Shawn super kicked Hogan.
Yeah. Something along those lines. I just think it'd be better for Dominic, not even necessarily to stay in the Judgment Day, although he fits well in that, but post WrestleMania, how is that going to work with Rhea? And I know they said they might be looking for new recruits. I just don't want them to put Ray and Dom back together yet. Eventually, yes. And
it's shit for the Hall of Fame, because Dom can't be anywhere. He can't even be seen in the crowd.
Well, they're doing it kayfabe, haven't they? Because I think Conan mentioned that they're traveling separately to keep the whole, you know, because normally they're eating together, or you know, they're keeping it all sort of. That's sort of like 80s style WCW, or 80s style heel in the face, where you just didn't communicate until you got in.
They definitely communicated. Did you see the bit in the match, Ray? Now, Dom, you're like, all right, mate. You don't have to make it so obvious.
Yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, Triple H.
There's cameras everywhere, mate. There's cameras everywhere, and don't get me wrong. Me and you are old school fans. I'm a bit of a geek. I look for shit like that. But he was like, "Now, Dom." It's like, all right, mate. Yep, you might want to whisper that a little bit.
Cena was bad for calling moves, and so was Triple H. If you actually watch them,
there's a site on YouTube that
Cena was brilliant. Bad for it. He was atrocious for it. Triple H was bad if you were close enough to see, especially when he's in the corner. He was bad.
Ray was that did make me. I knew you would spot it, but maybe not many fans did. But he was literally just helped Dom out. Your man Gunther versus Dolph Ziggler. Were you surprised that we didn't see Drew and Sheamus somehow involved in that? Again, it was just poor old Dolph got squashed.
Yeah,
Gunther posed, and that was it.
I think,
this is the Raw before WrestleMania.
I know it's atrocious.
Maybe I don't know. Am I too old school here or something? Am I expecting too much in the Raw before Mania?
I think we have to be. Look, with that one, you know, again, you had to book Gunther strong, regardless of what he's doing. Who, if he wins or loses, not, and I still hope he does, but I've got a feeling he's not. To get Sheamus and Drew involved. Not really, unless, you know,
they're going to do it on SmackDown.
Yeah, exactly that. And unless, you know, the Imperium beat down Ziggler at the end, there wasn't really any need.
No, I thought it was. Don't get me wrong. Anytime I get to see Gunther wrestle, I enjoy it. But the poor old Dolph, he's just falling off a cliff fast, isn't he?
I think he's just happy earning the bag.
He's just earning some money. You know, he's doing great stand-up shows around America. You know, he apparently doesn't do many house shows now because he's doing his comedy tour, and you know, he's such an underrated wrestler.
40-odd years old as well.
I think he's going to be very underrated when his WWE career comes to an end. He's not going to be one of these like superstars that come back at Mania and it was like, oh my god, Dolph Ziggler's back, because they haven't. He had that little bit when he cashed in on Alberto Del Rio.
And he got a concussion, had to drop it.
Got a concussion, had to drop it, and you're like, oh man.
I think Dolph Ziggler's going to be one of them ones that we call a great big missed opportunity.
Yeah, he could be like, you could see him sitting on the podcast in 3 years telling us, I wish they had done this with me. I wish they had done that with me.
Dolph Ziggler is an amazing talent. He's a great seller, great talent, great seller, great look.
He had it all, didn't he?
And to be honest, he should have left on his last contract and got. If he had gone anywhere, even in AEW in its infancy, he would be a multiple-time world champion with a decent run, without a doubt.
Do you know who I can describe him kind of to? And I know promotions have tried to push him. Christian. You think about how good he is. You think he was the TNA champion?
Yeah, he beat Jarrett. Yeah.
He's gone to AEW. Obviously started off with Jurassic Express, wasn't it? Yeah. And then they had the whole thing with Jungle Boy. But if you think he was WCW champion in the WWF, was he ECW?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I'm trying to
return to ECW.
I'm getting old now, mate. I've got lots of.
He can come back on ECW, and I remember it was a complete waste of a pop.
Yeah, but if I compare him to someone like a Dolph Ziggler, I think he's got such an incredible. But he'll be another one in. I think they even bought him back originally out of WrestleMania, and he was kind of a good pop. But I think he'll be another one in 4 to 5 years. You can see him sitting around doing the podcast circuit, and and he's had a great career, but he hasn't quite. You know what I mean? There's so many wrestlers, Dolph Ziggler, Christian, so many people like Finn Balor hasn't reached his full potential yet. You go and watch some of his New Japan stuff and some of the stuff that he done out there. If that ever gets unleashed in WWE, oh my God. I know they always, again, put the title on him. He got injured. He was the first Universal champion, wasn't he? With the old red stripe. And then, he had to drop it and stuff like that. Again, he's another one where I haven't quite engulfing him.
They water him down as well. You have to remember this. You are wrestling the WWE way, and you can tell a difference when you see a guy that was in WWE that goes to like an AEW. The difference in style, that WWE is a very watered down. You can't do this, you can't do that. Whereas
Christian seems that way in AEW a little bit. They haven't really used him as I thought they would.
Well, he's had a lot of injuries as well. Again, and
he's getting on, I suppose.
He's getting on, and I think you also got to remember that he actually did technically have to retire under WWE because of concussions, I think, or something. Yep. So again, you've got to protect him. I know he done that match with Jungle Boy at Revolution, but you do have to protect those ones, especially. I mean, Adam Cole needs to be wrapped in foil.
He's main event in Dynamite this Wednesday. That's going to be interesting when I'm looking forward. I love Adam Cole, baby. Raw finished with Cody and Solo.
Yeah.
Great match. There was Cody cutters all over the place. Paul Heyman's facial expressions sold the match. That guy's so underrated.
And the woe is getting louder.
Yeah, the woe is getting louder. The Usos come down. Out comes Sammy. It is all I expected from that main event. Solo's undefeated streak, albeit not that long. He hasn't wrestled too many matches. He's now defeated in WWE. Cody went over. It was a good sell at the end. Everyone had the tag team titles were kind of, storyline was moved on. They can't move on anymore. It's WrestleMania this Saturday, for fuck's sake. But they ended up backstage. Cody ended up getting the win, and Cody sent everyone home happy. I mean, that for me was a good spot of Raw. We all kind of knew that Cody's never losing up to WrestleMania. Again, though, was I disappointed not to see Roman? Do you know what I get annoyed about? And not annoyed. Raw used to be the show, Monday Night Raw. Now it's like, this is the Raw before WrestleMania, and Roman Reigns is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
Don't get me wrong, I love SmackDown. Always been it's the Rock show, SmackDown. Love it. He's my guy. But I could go back to you, Ads, and say, right, Adam, me and you, we're in our 20s, we're watching Raw before WrestleMania, but Austin, Rock, or Taker, or Triple H ain't on it. You'd be like, fuck off, bro. Have you been smoking a crack pipe or something? You know what I mean? You'd be like, what? Oh, that's the only thing I don't know, maybe I'm too old school, mate, but I would have liked to have seen Roman. Maybe it's his booking, or I know he doesn't do all the dates anymore, and yada, yada, yada. But they seem to save, I don't know if this is just me, it'd be interesting to get your views. They seem to save so much for SmackDown now. Maybe, I don't know, is it an end of the week thing? That's the last thing people remember at the end of the week. It's on a Friday. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it. But Raw for me, mate, it's Raw. And it hasn't got that je ne sais quoi anymore. Hasn't got that appeal. I don't know what you reckon.
I think, well, ratings wise, SmackDown's killing it.
It is on Fox.
So you kind of have to put your stars where the ratings are. I mean, remember, SmackDown's only been live for what, 6 years, 7 years?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Do you think the 3 hours on Raw kill it?
Oh yeah, fucking yes,
mate. I remember. Do you remember back when we were younger? Raw was an hour.
Yeah, I know how it's evolved. I mean, I think we've touched on it. They get a shit ton of money for that third hour. However, and one of the things I have noticed, or will notice, and especially when they come over here, and this is probably the reason why they're coming over here when they're doing it, was because the television rights are due for renewal. I don't know if it's in America. I think it is, because this year at some point. So,
well, BT Sport over here is changing to TNT, isn't it? TNT
which
Sport.
is going to be in the same. It's
under the same umbrella.
Under the same umbrella as AEW, which is going to be an interesting. Look, why do I think SmackDown's always been a better show for me ever since Raw's gone 3 hours. It's probably been better longer than that for me, but because it's been recorded, you can't put your stars on there. But ever since it's been live, Fox obviously promote it heavily. The story, it has got better. I just think at the moment they're just putting the money where the rating, or they're putting the stars where the ratings are.
That's what AEW needs to do, a Rampage. I mean, I tweeted out last week, I know we talk about AEW at the end of the week, but I tweeted out, look, if Rampage was 2 hours and live, I think it'd do a lot better. And everyone's like, no, I like the appeal of an hour show. It's quick, it's wrestling. But we don't get many promos. And I'm like, oh man, I reckon Rampage could be so much better if it was 2 hours and live. Take it around the country. Go to places you never go before. How many fucking times did AEW go to Chicago? Take it do a Rampage live from London. While you're over here, film Dynamite on a Wednesday and put Rampage on a Friday.
They may well do. They might have,
if they ever remember us. You know what I mean? Hello, Tony Khan. So that was Raw in a nutshell, mate. If you had to give it a cheeky little grade before, bear in mind it's the Raw before. I'm D.
I thought was give it numbers. F. I mean, they had a little bit with the whole story with Asuka and Bianca, but again, nothing there.
Nothing.
There's nothing there for them. Nothing.
Again, I literally, you said earlier about a cup of coffee. I literally picked up my drink, looked round. That had finished. Yeah,
for shows before the biggest pay-per-view. I mean, I've now got massively high hopes for SmackDown, because if that doesn't deliver, how can you put the two together?
I'm the other way, mate. I'm thinking because of the Hall of the Fame. I think SmackDown could just be another Raw. I briefly mentioned the Hall of the Fame.
Yeah,
there's only 4 people going in.
Yeah, I think that's a lot to do with time. I think.
But why don't put it on after SmackDown?
Well, exactly that. Exactly.
I know you've got NXT on Saturday, but that's during the day.
Why don't you put it on Thursday? Why couldn't they have done it on a Thursday night? What's the I mean, apart from the fact they've got the arena for SmackDown, so all they've got to do is bring the ropes and the corners down, and that's what they done last year, right? That's all they've done.
But I guess you've got NXT Saturday afternoon. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to watch all this wrestling.
Oh, I have no idea.
But yeah, the Hall of the Hall. Why do I keep calling it the Hall of the? It's new. It's the Hall of the Fame.
It's the Hall of the Fame.
That's Hall of the Fame.
That's going to be a tagline for this when it goes out.
The Hall of the Fame. Yeah. For me, there's only 4 people in it, but they're now choosing timings and slots on TV for the Hall of Fame. I'm like, come on, man. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that Stacey Keebler's in it. I love the fact that Ray's going in.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I couldn't care less.
Yeah,
Mutu, great. WCW back in the day with Jerry Law. What's his name? The guy that's going in that had the feud with Andy Calvin. They were all good, but a lot of WWE and WWF fans are going to, and unless you're really old school and really into your wrestling back in the day, no one's going to have a fucking clue who he is on Friday on SmackDown.
No, not really.
No one's really, and I'm just being honest here, me and you and lots of people that listen to this are old school fans, but I know fans that watch WWE all their life, and they're like, Bryce, who's this guy? I'm like, well, he was in WCW, so that's why he's really in, and he was in New Japan, and yada yada. I think he'd done a little bit in NWA back in the day. Text Fiona and ask her. She's the big NWA. She's the NWA. Fiona, I'm still watching NWA. No, I'm still watching it. But yeah, for me, the Hall of the Fame is it's lost something this year, and all because WWE have chose TV time and money over quantity.
if you think about it, they don't have to get there because you used to remember Hall of Fame has been a separate arena to everyone else. You had to go to it. So it's obviously last year they obviously done it at SmackDown as well, but it finished late because Undertaker's speech.
Taker was headline. Yeah, it went on forever.
And he went on forever. So
it just devalues people like Rey Mysterio, mate.
Yeah, it does.
He could have someone effectively. This is what can happen on Friday. He could be doing his speech, and one of two things will happen. He'll either get the hurry up, or SmackDown will go off the air, or WWE
it
Network.
Won't be on,
it's on Peacock though, because out in the States it's on Peacock.
It'll be
so they might have to go off the air. We're lucky. We still got the network over here. We don't have the Peacock. You know, if you want to watch Wrestlemania in the States, you've got to go. You've got to have Peacock this weekend. Me and you can watch it on the network.
We just flick it straight over to the network.
So he's either going to get the hurry up to wrap up his speech, or Peacock's going to go, hang on a minute, we've got, I don't know, some 2-bar program on after here that needs to come on.
Yeah.
Put it on the network.
Yeah. I know. I don't know.
I think it is on the network and Peacock, but for those without, those, all right, brilliant. Most people, wrestling fans, have got the network, but I don't know. It just seems a little bit devalued for me this year. I love the fact that Stacey Keebler's going in again. Definitely. She was great in WWF and WCW when she first started in WCW. She's amazing, great talent, and it's gorgeous. But anyway, let's finish up today's episode with our Wrestlemania predictions. So me and Adam are going to do our predictions. And then we are going to see when we record our Raw review next week
with Mr. Rowan.
With Mr. Rowan. After we've done that, me and Adam will see how close we got. So, Adam, why don't you go through the list of matches?
Okay, so the first match on my list I've got here is the Mysterios, basically.
Okay, Ray and Dom. I am writing these down so I don't forget. So, who we picked? Yeah, Ray and Dom.
I'm going to go for Ray on that.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Ray as well, mate. So I think we'll be 1-for-1 there. I think I cannot see him going. Can you imagine he loses the year he goes into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, that's the whole point. I can't see it happening.
Dom would get some serious heat if he did win. But yeah,
it could be good. Match 2 on this list I've got is the men's showcase fatal 4-way tag match. So Strowman, Ricochet, Profits, Alpha Academy, Viking Raiders.
Am I allowed to put don't care?
If I went with my heart would love the Alpha Academy to pick up a win. But I think I'm going to put my neck on for the Profits on that one.
Yeah, I'm going Profits as well, mate.
The next one on the list is the women's one. I'm just going to say Shayna and Ronda because that's who I can't see anyone other one to do anything.
Who's in it? Shayna and Ronda.
Shayna and Ronda, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, and Natalia and Shotzi.
Yeah, fucking hell, Ronda done. But this is going to be a great wrap up, mate. We're just agreeing.
Yeah, I know. Intercontinental title 3-way, Gunther, Sheamus, McIntyre. That would be a difficult one to run. I'm gonna say
Gunther keeps it.
I want Gunther to keep it. I just think they're going to give it to. I don't know. They're going to give it to Drew or Sheamus because Sheamus hasn't won it before. I'm going to say Drew. Okay. I'm going to say Drew.
Yep.
Hell in a Cell, Edge and Finn.
Edge.
Yeah, I'm going to say Edge as well.
We are agreeing a lot here, mate.
Yeah,
this recap ain't going to take long.
Lesnar and Omos.
Oh, who gives a shit? Omos, just for banter.
I'm going to say Lesnar.
Just for it's going to be Lesnar, but just for banter, just so we don't keep agreeing, mate. I'll go Omos. It's not going to happen, but you can go Lesnar. I am writing these down.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Who's next?
Damage Control against Trish, Lita, and Bayley.
Damage Control and Trish turns heel.
I'm going to go for the other way around. I'm going to go for the.
I've even wrote in brackets Trish turn.
Yeah. I'm going to go for the other way around. So I'm going to go Becky, Stratus, and Lita.
Okay.
I don't think.
But then she turns heel.
I think they save it because I still think that the women's showcase, I still think they're going to get a title shot the next night or the Raw after Mania. And
I think by SmackDown the following week, or they're not tag team champions anymore.
Yeah, it will be on Raw, I reckon.
Yeah.
And that's where
because the draft's coming up soon, isn't it? The draft's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Asuka versus Bianca.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Oscar. Yeah.
I'll say Bianca then, because you said Asuka. Asuka deserves her WrestleMania moment, but I'll say Bianca just for shits and giggles because you said Oscar.
Yeah, I literally went dip dog shit. Who's next?
Usos, Sammy and Kev. I don't think there's any argument with them.
Yeah, Sammy and Kev, mate.
Yeah, definitely. We can't really go.
Sammy.
Charlotte and Rhea. Rhea for me.
I reckon WWE might have changed their mind.
Really?
I don't think Rhea's. She's again. Maybe I'm just being a dope. I think she's lost something. I don't know. This build up to Mania, she was so white hot. It probably will. I'll go Charlotte just for the hell of it.
Just for the hell of it.
Just for maybe a storyline after post Mania. But apparently, she's off against Charlotte Flair, so
And Rhea deserves it after the shit she's been through at airports.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Fucking idiot. Stop asking wrestlers for loads of autographs at airports. Let them get on their flights in peace, for God's sake. Mind you, if I saw Stone Cold Steve Austin at an airport, I'd go fucking exit. Anyway,
we need to talk about that on another podcast.
We'll get into that. That is
Rollins and Paul. It's Logan Paul's birthday. They're having it on the Saturday, and it's Logan Paul's birthday when they do it.
I will go Rollins because if the actual wrestler doesn't win this and he full time, I'll go Rollins.
I think if you look at the storyline perspective, he's not really done anything with Logan Paul. He's been on the receiving end twice, and I don't think he can have another big loss if they want to push him to the title. So, Theory and Cena.
I'm thinking again. I could be batshit crazy. Cena.
Go on.
Just for what? If he's sticking around, and what you said earlier, an open challenge on Raw, it'll be a good way to flip it and get someone else involved in a storyline.
Yeah.
So just for that alone, and just because I'd love to see him have one more title.
Yeah.
Cena.
I'm just going to swap it and go for Theory. And the reason why I'm going to say Theory is not because I want him to, or I just think that if they're that big on Theory and they want him to do bigger things, he needs a big win. Okay. So that's why I'm going for Theory. And of course, we come to the last one, which is probably, I still think, one of the most harder predict ones. Although, depending on the way you look at it, Cody and Roman.
Roman Reigns.
In your case, then, I will go with Cody. Again, not because I'm so torn on this, and I think a lot of people are now, because it's like, we want to see the 1,000-day reign. We want that to happen. We also want Cody to finish the job.
Bully Ray, I don't know if you've listened to today's Busted Open. Bully Ray made a great point.
Yeah.
You are now putting Roman Reigns in the same breath as Bruno Sammartino.
Yes.
Is, for as good as Cody is, and as good as the comeback and the hype and everything, is he the man to end this?
Well, I think I personally think, and again, he saw a little bit on Raw when the Solo lost. Paul Heyman was on the phone. Even if you see the Goodfellas skit that they done, which is probably actually one of the highlights of
Raw. It's good, man. It's good.
The ending of that, again, there's a bit of contention between him and Roman. The Solo cost Roman the title.
Someone's costing him the title. Yeah, it's going to be Solo. I think it's going to be Solo.
I'm going to go with Cody. Okay, you went with Roman. I'm going to go with Cody. My heart says Roman just because he deserves the 1,000 days. Cody still deserves to be the man to pick it up, the win. Again, beat him. I don't know how long the reign's going to be, because
if not Cody, it's for another show. We haven't got time to get into today. But if not Cody, who? You know what I mean? That's probably what WWE are thinking. They're like, right, we need to. If Roman's got other obligations outside of wrestling, which we're hearing he has, then they need to do something.
Well, the other thing quickly was apparently he's approved the belt change to just.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the detail going around on Twitter today. The apparent design that it's going to be one belt. There's going to be both. It's going to be, and hopefully that's going to be on Raw and SmackDown, and hopefully you're going to see a bit old school. I keep saying it today, old school storytelling. Raw's. I'm going to have to watch SmackDown because I want to know what happens the aftermath, the end of Raw. Exactly. I'll have to watch Raw to know the aftermath, the end of SmackDown. But I don't know, mate. But Adam, you and I will do this all again tomorrow.
Yes, we will. with the lovely Melina Perez.
We've got Melina Perez joining us tomorrow, folks. So make sure you tune in. We're going to be asking her all things Wrestlemania. I want to ask her about her Raw debut because it was.
We have a fan question as well.
Go for it.
No. Well, yeah, we'll ask Melina tomorrow. But one of my good friends, David, has asked me a question to ask.
Hello, David.
It is Mr. David Robinson. He's a
Robbo.
Robbo, yeah, he's a good friend of mine. I'm just trying to find his question very briefly. A question for Melina. If you could choose any 3 opponents, past or present, to face in a fatal 4-way match at WrestleMania, who would you choose and why?
Oh, great question.
Great question, Dave.
Well done, Dave. Legend. It's a good question. Yeah, I want to ask her about her debut on Raw because it was a little backstage segment with Batista and Ric Flair steaming around the corner going absolutely apeshit.
I want to get her to do the splits.
Yeah, I'm going to ask her about that intro, mate. I've got to ask her how that come about, mate, because it's probably one of the most famous intros in wrestling. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's going to be great. Once. Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, it's only gone wrong once when she hit the apron and bless her. But no, I can't wait to speak to Melina Perez tomorrow. Make sure you go and check us out on all social media. You can find us on Twitter at HTT Buckle. You can find us on Facebook. Just type in "Hitting the Turnbuckle Podcast" and we'll come up. But we'll be back tomorrow, and then we'll. YouTube, yep, you can find us on YouTube. Jeez, I keep forgetting. Oh my, I've got so many things to remember, mate. We have our own YouTube channel, all one word, Hitting the Turnbuckle Podcast on YouTube. Type that in, hit that subscribe button. All these shows and all the past shows, everything's on there. The Vince Russo interview, the Big Damo interview, everything that we've done so far is on our YouTube. Thanks to our good friend Munsey for setting that up for us. Munsey will be joining us on Friday for our AEW Dynamite review show. So myself, Adam, and Munsey will be here Friday. So you've got us Wednesday, Friday, and me and Adam will be back Saturday with our SmackDown show. So another busy week.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Hitting the Turnbuckle Podcast. I've been your host, Andy Burrows, with my good friend Adam Cousins. Enjoy WrestleMania week. What are we now? Tuesday? NXT's tonight. Go and enjoy it. Till next time, everybody, stay safe.